Hi guys, welcome to this channel. My name is Oluwatoyin. I'm the creative director of Pop Reality Couture. Please subscribe to this channel, like our videos, and let us know any other tutorial that you like to see. This is the measurement I'll be using for this class. We are drafting a bustier blouse. Okay, so I'm taking the shoulder. The shoulder is 8. Okay, the shoulder is 9 for this person. That is 18 divided by 2. 17 divided by 2 plus half inch, and then the armhole is 10.5. that is 21 divided by 2. You can also use another method if you do not measure the person. That is when you come down by 1.5, then you now divide your bust, divide by 6 plus 1.5. Whatever you get, you can also use it. But I measure this person. So the shoulder to bust, I mark the shoulder to bust. The shoulder to bust is, I think, 11. The shoulder to bust, under bust, and waist. Then the full length of the blouse. So I'm just going to take it on the other side. So shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, and full length. So I'm marking it to show the lines. So that's the bust, the under bust, the waist, and then the edge of the paper is the full length. So I'm taking quarter of the bust measurement, quarter of the waist, and then quarter of the full length. That's the blouse length measurement. And then I'm connecting the lines. Okay, so now I'm going to be placing the nipple to nipple divided by 2. And nipple to nipple divided by 2 is 8.5. Divided by 2, nipple to nipple is 8.5, divided by 2 is 4.25. So I place the 4.25 on the bust, the under bust, and to the full length, and mark a straight line. So on the waist, I'm taking a 0.75 on both sides of that nipple to nipple line. Then I came down by 1 from the bust. Then I came up by 1 from the blouse length, and then I form my waist dart. So the first dart we are forming is the waist dart. That's just the basic waist dart. You take 0.75 on both sides of the waistline, on both sides of the nipple to nipple line, on the waistline. Okay, so just ignore what I was doing here. I made a mistake. I was thinking that's the underbust line to do my underbust tightening. So you can just ignore this part. Okay, then I realized myself. Okay, so now for the on the underbust line, you're going to use the person's cup size to do the underbust tightening. To get the person's bust and cup size, you use the bust divided by 4 minus the underbust divided by 4. So for her, I got 1.6. So I just divided the 1.6 not equally on both sides. That's, I have more on the side than on the center front. So that the center front will not be much. Like if the difference is like 1.5, instead of taking 0.75 on both sides, you take 0.6 on one side and 0.8 on the other side, which is by the side. Now I want to do the overbust tightening. So I've marked my shoulder slant, and I got the middle point of the shoulder slant, and I'm connecting to the bust point. That's the midpoint of your shoulder slant after taking the natural neckline of 3. Okay, so now I'm determining how off I want the off shoulder to be, which is -6. So on both sides of that line connected from the shoulder to the bust, I'm taking 0.75 on both sides, and I'm forming a dart. Now from the bust point, I am coming up by half inch, and then I connect it to that. I form a dart. So I came up by half inch from the bust point and connected it to the 0.75 on both sides. So now I'm going to be forming the curve for to connect to the underbust tightening. Okay, you can see that the shape of the breast has come out. This is very easy, and when you use this method, you're going to have a perfect fit on the breast, as in there's nothing like going inside or anything. So now I'm taking the bust dart. The bust dart is the difference between the shoulder to waist for the front and shoulder to waist for the back. So for some is up to 2, for some is 1 inch, for some is 1.5. So I came down from the bust line by 1 and 1.5. Then those other one at the downside is to tighten the waist and the full length. If the person does not have much stomach, you can just take half inch on both sides. So I took half inch on both sides and connected to the waist dart, okay, to just tighten the stomach area a bit. But if the person has a lot of stomach, you may not just leave it and not tighten at all. Okay, so I just came down by 2 inches from that line to form the neckline for this off shoulder. So I'm using a round neckline. You can decide to use a sweetheart neckline. So I used a round neckline. Okay, now for the back, I'm taking the zipper allowance, which is 1.5. Then I'm putting the shoulder measurement and the armhole measurement. So then I took the shoulder to waist, shoulder to full length. Now the shoulder to waist is minus the 1.5 that I'm already using for the bust, and that's for the bust dart. So if your shoulder to waist for front is, let's say, 16, the shoulder to waist for the back, since you're taking 1.5, would be 14.5. So I've reduced the length of the back like that. Okay, so I'm drawing the lines to mark the point, to note the point. So now I'm connecting to form the shoulder line, the armhole line. So now I'm taking the natural neckline, which is 3, and I came down by 1 for the back slant, the black shoulder slant. The front one is 1.5, the back one is 1. Then after that, you still go up by half an inch for the shoulder joining allowance. So now I divided the remaining points into 2 to draw the armhole. After dividing into 2, I came in by 0.25. That's just the basic bodice, and I form my armhole. So on the waist, I'm taking the zipper dart. To take the zipper dart, I'm taking 0.5 in. 0.5 in on the waist. This way, I have not started putting the cutter of my measurement. The first thing I took here now is the zipper dart, which is 0.75, and I form a slant line. Then I'm taking quarter of my bust, quarter of the waist, and quarter of the full length, because you do this so that by the time you finish, it's the 0.75 you have taken for the zipper that will not affect your measurement. Okay, so now to put the back dart, I'll measure the actual waist and divide it by 2 to get the midpoint. Then from the first straight line that I had for the zipper allowance, I now measure to get a straight line. So I measured back to get a straight line. Okay, then I took 0.75 on both sides and I went all down by 1 inch from the chest line and went up by 1 inch from the full length to form the dart. So for that line, I'll take it again. That's, you measure the midpoint of the waist, and then to get the midpoint of the waist, then you go back to the first straight line that you have and measure to know what you have. You may end up having, like, let's say divide by 2 is 4.25. By the time you go back to the straight line, you have 5. So is that 5 you're going to take so that you have a straight line for your dart, and at the end of the day your dart will be at the midpoint. So now I've marked the half inch and the -6, and then I took 6 inches for the person's back width, and then I formed the round neck for the back and the armhole line. So I used 6 inches for the wideness of the back, and I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. That's how you have it there. So I'm drawing the lines out. I added the dart allowance back and the sewing allowance, which is 2.2 inches. Then I went up by 1.5 to make the back a bit, the down part a bit slanted. Okay, so for the front, I'm also going up by 1.5 in order to make it slanted. Okay, so now for the front wideness too, I'm using 6. So you can just say 6 plus the 1.5 that you have for your dart length, that is 7.5, plus 1 inch sewing allowance, that is 8.5. So you make sure that you have 8.5 all through by the time you measure. Okay, so I'm just using this marker to draw out the line. I think for the next tutorial, I'm just going to use the marker all through so that we can see it clearly from onset. Okay. So I'm cutting it. So guys, that's just basically it's not hard, it's very simple, and I can assure you, if you follow this process, you're going to have a perfect fit. Like, the cup will be very firm and fine. Your customers are going to like it. Please, like I said, please subscribe to this channel, like our videos, and if there's any video that you would like to see on this channel, we are in the comment section. I'll be reading your comments. I'd like to hear your reviews. I would like to hear your reviews on this video. Okay, so I'll be doing something for this back. I will be tightening the neck region. So I'm still cutting it, but to tightening the neck region, I'll be marking half inch. That's this waist, the that leg. I'll extend it to the neck region, and I'll take half inch on both sides. So that's what I'll be doing right now. So I'm extending that line to the neck, and then I'll take half inch on both sides and draw it out. That's just to make the back a bit firmer. So I'm going to be folding it and redraw the neck area. That I'm going to be redrawing the neck, because if I don't do that, by the time I'm sewing, they will not be equal. So I'm just cutting it out. You can see the dart now, the way it is. So I'm going to cut out the dart like that. And there you have it. So I'm labeling it to show that this I'm adding. You mark where you are adding those points where you'll be joining. You need to add half inch to join them. So now I'm closing the bust dart. Then I'll write the half inch that I'll be adding to join the two sides. You know that this one is pattern, so you have to mark. You need to write your allowances. Then for the sides, for the front, I'll be adding, for the chest line I'll be adding 2.5, and the waist I'll be adding 4, and the full length I'll be adding 3.5. Thank you.